This video was produced in the framework of the Climed-Fruit project, and will allow you to discover the OFIVO operational group and the different results and testimonies that resulted from it. Starting, a little tutorial to remind you how to put YouTube subtitles in your language. First, click on the Settings button. And on the Subtitles button. You can click on the auto-generated proposal. Once it is done, click again on the Subtitles button. Now choose your language. Here we are, now you are ready. The geographical perimeter of OFIVO extends from Gascony to the Mediterranean area, which implies a great diversity of terroir but also of viticultural practices. Mediterranean context results in low rainfall, mostly bare soil, and low yields with AOC production. Irrigation is commonly used. Context of Gascony is characterized by an average annual rainfall of about 800 mm, covered soils, high yields and a majority of production in IGP. Irrigation is gradually developing in the region. Two main issues are addressed by the operational group. Firstly, to find out which irrigation system is best suited to the vine, and secondly, to find out if fertigation can have an impact on grape maturity. Various actors are involved in OFIVO: independent wine growers, cooperatives, negotiants, technical institute, a varied panel that represents a good part of the wine industry. Now find out who these partners are.
OFIVO, it's 5 wine companies that bring together a total of more than 40 wine growers in 2 different vineyards. That means that in fact we manage 2 groups in one. One in Gascony vineyard and one in Mediterranean vineyards group. From a methodological point of view and before the concrete implementation of the project, we first brought together the two geographic groups of the project to precisely co-construct the complete OFIVO program. That means that we ask two main questions. What are your needs on your area about ferti-irrigation, and how to answer it? Is it by setting up experimentation, new experimentation about ferti-irrigation, or is it by disseminating know-how and technical references? I mean conference, tutorial, video, technical sheet, or study trip. The needs of the two groups were globally identical, but sometimes different and more precise needs depending on the qualitative level of the production, of course, but also of the climate, Gascony or Mediterranean. And during the project, meetings were organized 1-2 times a year separately and once all together on a study trip on 3 pilot farms. What is it's interesting that at the end of the project, after the project, what can be highlighted is that the members of the groups keep in touch, and new test plots have been set up by IFV to increase our knowledge on ferti-irrigation and to answer to new questions of the farmers.
For the experimental part, the trials were mainly located on 2 plots, the first in Gascony and the second in the Mediterranean area. Concerning the comparison of the different irrigation systems, the different profiles of wet bulbs have been studied thanks to the installation of capacitive probes. In the trials, data from the capacitive probes were collected weekly directly in the field or via remote questioning. More than 10,000 data were collected during the project. The impacts of ferti-irrigation on the grapes were measured during harvest by measuring yields and then in the laboratory by analyzing the must and then the wine. For the measurement of the yield, each vine of each modality is harvested separately. Once in the laboratory, different parameters are analyzed according to the need: sugar content, total acidity, assimilable nitrogen, polyphenols. Now that you know more about OFIVO, let's see the results that came out of this project.
Hello everybody, my name is Thierry Dufourc. I work for IFV, and I am an agronomist. I work also in technical viticulture. I was involved in the OFIVO project on the southwest part of the group, and I will show you this at this time results on the achieved by the projects, and in 2 categories. The first is concerning the formation of the soil wet bulbs with different irrigation system, and secondly, how fertigation can have an impact on the grape quality. Okay. So first one, in the project we have a question that is how to show to growers the efficiency of the technique of irrigation to save water. And so we try to better understand how the soil wet bulb formation could develop with different technique of irrigation, subsurface or aerial drip irrigation. This work has been presented in the TERCLIM conference in last July in France, and is available on the link here in on the screen on the IVS Open Science website. here. So just we set up the trial in the Mediterranean area. We tried two irrigation systems, as I said, located here under the row, or located here in the middle of the interrow of the vine. So we put some soil moisture sensor, okay, and to provide information of the soil moisture content. The sensor was positioned at different depths, from 20 centimeter to 80 centimeter, in depth under the row, but also laterally, okay. And we schedule irrigation, of course, of the according to the vine needs, between flowering and veraison. An example of results by the probe. We can show some spike that explain that confirm that the soil recharged in water here after the irrigation. So what we saw is that under the row, the increase in soil moisture under the row at 20 centimeter and 40 centimeter are important, but weaker when you reach 60 centimeter here in red, and or 80 centimeter in blue. So you have an efficiency here under the row. But if you look at the probes laterally, here you can see that there is a poorly increase only here at 60 centimeter laterally, but not on higher in the subsurface. Okay, this allows us to calculate and quantify the increase in different parts of the soil. So I will show you this result that compares aerial irrigation and subsurface irrigation. What we see, the larger and the higher here, I positioned the green plots, sorry. The larger and high positioned is the green box plot, and the wetter is the soil. As you see here, you have the wet bulb that's formed in this place. When you look at subsurface drip irrigation in the middle of the row, what we saw is that in the interrow, this is different, and we have a larger bulb here and deeper that is formed. So, in conclusion of these results, we can represent like this. And subsurface irrigation in the middle of the row generated larger wet bulb with vertical and lateral percolation than aerial drip like this. And also, what we observe in our trial is that the water from the subsurface irrigation reach the ground here and by capillarity, which is very interesting. And maybe we can imagine that this system could be a lever in dry areas to promote establishment of plant cover in the interrow, which is known for providing a set of sustainable service. This is the first result. The second is how fertigation can be involved in the grape maturity. And so we have here 3 different results. We try to manage ferti-irrigation at Verizon in order to improve the maturity of Colombar and Gros Manseng in the southwest. In this vineyard, we have high yield production between 15 to 20 tons. So sometimes we have a lack of maturity. Donc we try to achieve this result. In second year, we try, on the other hand, in the Mediterranean area on Syrah variety to delay the maturity using fertigation. And also, we try to have, we check some effect of fertigation to adapt the production, and especially in hot vintage, and for saving also inputs. So quickly some results. To increase the maturity, we use potassium fertigation late in the season around the veraison. Potassium is known to improve the sugar loading and also are involved in the acidity with lowering the effect of tartaric acid. So we try to test this kind of techniques. The result is that we no measure effect on maturity with this technique, with no effect on yield, that was expected, but no effect also on the composition of the different grape variety. Second trial, we use fertigation also to delay maturity in Syrah. So we use phosphorus and nitrogen fertigation. And at this time also, we don't have any results. We have a result that there is any result, no yield impact, and very slight effect on sugar. Even if here you have some significant effect, it's very short, only 7 grams per liter. Okay, but in this technique, what we saw is that we have an effect on nitrogen in the must. Here, very significant due to the use of here 12 kilos of nitrogen. And this is very interesting for the quality of the wine, especially for the aromatic composition. We know that this kind of level of nitrogen in must could improve the fruity sensory perception of the wine. Okay, but for our objectives, we did not achieve any modification in grape maturity, neither improving or delaying the maturity. That was a result for the growers. The last one is we test fertigation strategies in hot vintage. The objective was to limit the negative effect of the water stress, of course, but also to make the use of fertilizer more efficient. We know that when the soil is very dry, you don't have mineralization, and nutrients are less available for the plant. So we try 3 types of fertilization. One, full fertigation. We brought all the nutrients by irrigation pipe. We have a partial fertirrigation with part by irrigation pipe and part on the soil, and we have a control, which is the local standard, actually, that brought on the soil during the season. here you have some details of the result. The interest was that the full fertigation strategy shows the best ratio between yield and maturity, and of course brought 30% less of fertilizer for the same result. So this is very important to reduce the inputs in this kind of results. It was very interesting for the producer to show this kind of result. So for us, full fertigation strategy confirmed its relevant efficiency to produce high yield expected in the Gascony vineyard, 15 to 20 tons of grapes, and to reduce inputs, notably nutrients. Okay, thank you for your attention. And if you have any question.
Put things into perspective. Here are the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats analysis that were conducted on the practices previously presented. Finish this video presentation of OFIVO. Let's end on a high note with the testimony of one of its members.
Donc moi, je m'appelle Sandrine Mardy, je suis technicienne en viticulture et œnologie. Donc, j'accompagne en fait nos viticulteurs ici au sein de la cave de Condom. Cave de Condom, donc, qui est le groupe Val de Gascogne. Et nous sommes aussi en lien avec le groupe Plémont, puisque tout notre vin en fait est commercialisé dans les bouteilles du groupe Plémont. Alors, nous avons accepté de participer à OFIVO pour une raison essentielle, c'est que nous travaillons déjà depuis un petit moment sur l'irrigation de la vigne au sein de notre structure, donc de Val de Gascogne. Et du coup, l'idée, c'était de progresser par rapport à la ferti-irrigation que nous n'utilisons pas du tout actuellement. Et c'était aussi de voir les autres types en fait, d'irrigation qui existaient, et notamment l'irrigation enterrée que nous n'utilisions pas encore. Voilà, on utilisait essentiellement en fait, de l'irrigation par goutte à goutte. Donc, c'était un peu ça l'idée de la participation à OFIVO. Et puis, c'était aussi de voir les attentes, en fait, sur la même problématique, si vous voulez, les attentes et puis la progression aussi des autres partenaires du groupe, qui est une sorte, en fait, d'échange d'idées sur le même sujet, irrigation, ferti-irrigation et type d'irrigation. Voilà l'idée générale. OFIVO nous a permis d'acheter une chambre à pression que nous utilisons sur l'ensemble de nos parcelles irriguées. Donc nous faisons en fait des potentiels hydriques feuilles qui nous permettent en fait de faire le déclenchement, de donner le top départ pour l'irrigation de nos parcelles. Donc, OFIVO nous a permis d'acheter cette chambre à pression très pratique et assez moderne. Nous avons fait dans le cadre d'OFIVO aussi un voyage d'études sur une zone dans l'Aude en fait, où ils utilisent l'irrigation un peu de manière différente par rapport à nous, voilà. Et la thématique en fait de ce voyage d'études, c'était la ferti-irrigation notamment, et aussi d'autres types d'irrigation, notamment enterrée. Donc ça nous a permis, OFIVO nous a permis de faire ce voyage d'études. Et suite à ce voyage d'études, en fait, un de nos vignerons, donc pour la première fois, a mis en place un système de goutte à goutte enterré. Voilà, donc ça fait 2 ans maintenant. Et en plus d'être ce goutte à goutte enterré, se pilote aussi par des panneaux solaires. Voilà. Donc quelque chose de tout à fait innovant, suite probablement, enfin sûrement d'ailleurs, à ce voyage d'études. Voilà. Donc c'est une action très concrète des bénéfices en fait d'OFIVO.